know how to start. Okay. Alright. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you've never seen me before, my name is Lucy Day and I do a lot of stuff like this. So if you're into this, go ahead and subscribe. But today we are going to be talking about something that is really cool. And if you're new to the whole witchcraft thing, or you're trying to get into witchcraft, or you're just curious about like spells in general, then I'm here to lay it all out for you. Now, all of this comes from my personal experience and my personal journey with witchcraft and everything like that. And witchcraft is very, I feel like, individualized. And when you're just starting out, you can rely on other people to give you spells, or you can kind of, look at other people and see what they do, but you'll find yourself wanting to create your own kind of thing and do your own kind of thing. So I'm kind of here to talk to you guys from experience about how to craft your own spells and how to kind of get into, I guess, making your work more individualized, your craft more individualized. So let's get into it. Okay. Like I said, I will make a separate video addressing dark magic versus light magic, but right now we're just going to be talking about like general magic and general intention and how to craft intention and how to basically craft your own spell. Now we're not going to go into specifics like it's just going to be generally, right? And I can make separate videos for like specifically like love spells or money spells or success spells or things like that, but this is just working as an intro video to just like crafting. Okay, for me, you have to know where I'm coming from so you can kind of see like if this is like what you mean and like what you're trying to do. So for me, I work very closely with the law of attraction, and I really like that idea of the law of attraction and being a manifester and things like that. If you want to see my manifestation stories, you can go ahead and check over there, or is it over there? Anyway, besides the point. So I believe as somebody who practices witchcraft, I kind of view spells as basically powerful intent. Powerful intent. Focused, very powerful intent that you release onto the universe or, this existence, and it comes back to you. So it's basically releasing energy, for me anyways. It's putting energy into the world and watching it manifest, which is kind of like using the law of attraction, with your thoughts and everything else. So a lot of the things that I do don't involve like a lot of magical tools or, different things. We'll get into that, but most of the time my spells and the way I craft my spells are focused on intent and thought and belief, and we will talk about belief and we'll talk about those things too. But if you're working with me and if I'm giving you my experience about how to craft, belief is going to be basically the main thing into going into like crafting any sort of spell. And intent is also a very big thing. Right now, I will kind of walk you through the steps, right? So I feel like there's definitely like, I don't know, there's a process that I usually follow when I'm crafting my own spell, and that you can certainly follow as well, which is very general. You can make it about anything, but these are very generalized steps you can take to craft your own spell. So the first one is knowing your intent, right? The only thing that's going to bring this back to you or your intent back to you is knowing what you want in the first place. So the thing that makes it so powerful is how focused it is. That's the point of the spell. It gets the intent to be very focused. So you have to know your intent when starting out, right? Is this going to be a love spell? Is this going to be a money spell, an intention spell? It could be literally a spell about anything, attracting more success or luck or anything like that, right? So you have to figure out your intent and really think about that, right? So what are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? That is like the first thing when crafting a spell. Know what the spell is. Because I find that from experience that usually the more my intent is kind of scattered and kind of messy, like I don't really know what I want, but I'm just casting a spell, like no. Usually it doesn't bring good results. What brings good results is a focused intent, knowing what you want. Now, once you know your intent, you're going to try to focus it. Now this is done in many ways, right? You have the option of writing words down. This is what I do. I write down on a piece of paper, it could be any type of paper, I write down what I want and my intent. So if I'm trying to attract money, I use words, manifesting words. I use like, I have $50, or I attract money easily. Like things like that. Like you have to put your intent down somehow you have to focus it. Now you can do this, some people also, I know it's common to say words, like come up with the words and like something to chant or something to say, like 3 times, say this 3 times. Like if you wanted to do, like some people do like a jar and they put their intent inside a jar, or they make an object, the focused intent, like a rock specifically for manifesting something, or a crystal specifically for love or something like that. Like you have to hone it in, find a way to hone it in. And it could be many different things. So whatever you're feeling called to do. Most of the times for me, it's just writing things down on paper. That's how I focus my intent. Sometimes I designate a certain oil or a certain element like water or fire to mean something. Basically, you're transferring your intent onto something tangible right there so you can have it with you. So this could be through writing things down, this could be through saying your intent outwardly, it could be blessing or using a certain tool, anything like that, as long as you can focus your intent. So after you focus it, after you kind of hone it in and you kind of like write it down, or you get your words right, or you, however you're going to focus this intent, right? Now it's time to boost it. And so usually the way people boost it, I usually skip this step because I feel like as long as you have that belief there and you're pretty solid with your intent, I feel like you don't need any magical boostings. But some people feel otherwise, and sometimes it's traditional to include certain elements in a spell. So let's just say you're working with a love spell. In order to boost that intent or whatever you're releasing into the universe, you might feel the need to get some rose quartz. Or if you're trying to do something cleansing, you might choose to involve things like salt or clear quartz or something like that. So the quartz, the crystals, the other elements that you have, these are all things that could boost your spell. Candles, wands, different colors, like I said already, crystals, like there are a lot of things, and I will make separate videos onto the different elements you could involve, things that magical boost, I guess you could call it, to help increase the power of your spell. But a lot of people, that's when you see, you know how you see the, if you ever are looking for spells, it's like, have this herb, or put this incense in, or light this specific candle 3 times. Like, these are tools. Those are tools. The ingredients to your spell are the tools that will help boost your spell and boost your intent. That's basically all it's doing. Now, if you think about it the way I think about it, like manifesting wise, if you believe that this certain color, like let's just say pink with love, right? If you believe pink is a, you know, it embraces the color of love. If you believe that, obviously it's going to boost your magical working and your intent because it works in your favor. If you believe that water is cleansing and you're trying to do something cleansing, then it will help because it's basically just adding more elements in that are confirming and affirming your beliefs, which are making your intent more powerful and kind of getting you into that mindset that this spell will work. And that's the whole thing. It's just knowing that it will. And these extra elements help you boost that knowing, that confidence, I guess. So there, you could add a lot of things, sigils, symbols. Like if you're writing something down and it's about money, you could add money symbols or different sigils for deities that you work with. There's a lot of options when it comes to things that you can add in to boost your focused intent. And so then after you have added all these elements to your focused intent, now it's time, best part is to just release it all. You just release it back to where, you just release your intent back to where it came from so that it can come back to you in the form, the way that you want it to. This is all about like trust and surrendering. This has a lot to do with law of attraction, but basically once you have formed and crafted your spell, some way, somehow, I feel like there needs to be a release. This could be, like I said, if you want to do a simple thing, like honestly, you could look at affirmations as a spell too. Standing in the mirror and confirming something and just speaking it out and then releasing any fear you have. Another way I like to release my spells, I like to use fire personally. I like to, like I said, I like to work with paper. So once I have written my intent down and added any other elements, I like to kind of fold it up, seal it with any sigils I have, any oil, coat it with any oil I have to kind of, you know, really boost what my intent is. And then to release it, to symbolize the releasing process, I like to take fire and just set it off, put it into flames and watch it disappear. And I've also done it where I just bury it into the earth and just leave my spell there just to be, you know, put back to where it came from. An object that I've put, you know, some magical intent into and just wash it off with water. Like, I like to have some sort of symbolic release, and you can do that many different ways. Feel free to be creative. There are no, I feel like, I'll get into that, but basically release. There has to be, I feel like, for me anyways, there has to be release. And if you're trying to craft a spell, I feel like it's very important to release your intent, because that's the whole thing. You want to release it into the universe so it can come back, right? So yeah, so there's that. Now I'm gonna kind of talk about, like, I know this is a very general way of explaining a spell and explaining how to craft it, but I will make more videos. This is just kind of like the general, like, if you're curious, this is how I do it, this is how I set it up. So knowing your intent, focusing your intent, boosting your intent, and releasing it. And you can do this many different ways. Don't feel limited. That's the one thing I hate, when people feel limited. Don't feel limited. You're only limited by your beliefs. Okay. Things to be mindful of when you are crafting a spell. Make sure that your beliefs line up with what you're trying to create or what you're trying to do. If you don't believe that this spell is going to work, don't do it, because it's not going to. You are the powerhouse to this spell. You are the fuel. Your beliefs are the fuel. Your intent is the fuel. So you need to make sure that everything, if you believe in karma, let's just say, and if you believe that it's really traditional, especially in Wicca and in witchcraft, there's this threefold rule that anything you put out comes back to you in threefold. So you need to be careful. Like, if you're going to put out something bad, then know that it's going to come back. You need to make sure that your beliefs line up with what you are putting out before you do anything. So make sure you know where you stand before you actually go and try to craft a spell. So something to be mindful of when you're casting it. If you're Wiccan, a lot of the times around the Sabbats is not really a great time for spell casting, and we're trying to just, like, there are certain, I guess, specific spells to cast around Sabbat times, and also around, like, the moon. If you're into that, like, if you believe that the moon can affect your magical workings, be aware. Also, there's, like, a lot of different things with, like, the zodiac signs and when we're falling and when we're right. It's just a lot, so be careful of when, if you do believe in that. When is very important. If you are into moon magic and if you like casting with the spells, casting spells around different moon phases, I also have a video on that too, so you can check that out. I don't know where it is, maybe it's up there, maybe it was up there. Like, you know how they say, like, a full moon is a very potent time to do a spell because it increases magical workings. Like, that's what I'm talking about. So be careful of when you are deciding to do your spell or involve it into your crafting process. So this is a number one thing, right? Be careful, be very wary of crafting a spell for somebody else or for a specific person, because everybody has their own life force. Everybody is their own person, and it is not, I feel like, personally, our place to interfere with that, unless they give you permission or unless they are open to it as well and you've informed them. Like, it may be okay. Like, if you want to cast a good luck spell or you want to cast a love spell for your friend or something like that, like, just make sure they know and make sure they're open to receiving that kind of energy, because either it won't manifest the way it's supposed to, or it won't manifest at all. So you have to make sure, if there is a third party other than yourself, that person or that entity is also open like you are. I know from experience, sometimes working with other people is just, you don't want to cross it. You don't want to cross the line. So just be wary of that when it comes to involving other people in your spells, because depending on what you believe, it could be really good or it could be really bad. That's all I'll say. With all that being said, I think that I really want to urge that you be creative, because what urged me to go out and start making my own spells, or, you know, making my own focus intent, is because I was reading so much on, like, all these different Wiccan websites and a bunch of spells that had a bunch of recipes, and I was just like, I don't know, that doesn't feel like me. So I implore you and I urge you, if you're looking to create your own spell, do it. I mean, look up the elements, look up the tools, look up what you can involve in your spell, look up the phases of when this could increase your spell or when this could decrease your spell. I encourage you to explore and to research everything that is available to you. And if it doesn't feel right and it doesn't resonate with you, don't do it. Create your own. That is the whole point. Create your own. Do what works for you. Literally, belief is everything. So do not be limited by somebody else's rules. Do not be limited even by your own rules. Set your own rules. All right? This is how this works. It's very free, right? And learn by experience. Trial and error. That's all I say. Now, again, you could have a really bad intent going into this, or you could have a really good intent going into this. We will talk about those different kinds of magics in a later time and what they could mean. But again, I will be more specific and getting into like how to specifically craft this, or how to specifically cast this, and how to cast a spell in general. So this is just kind of like, a little bit of general info to all those who are curious about spells and how to craft and make their own. So if you like this video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up, subscribe. I'm here every Monday, Friday, and now Wednesdays for you guys. So there's a lot more content to come. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you very much. Very, very much. And I'll see you later. Bye.